Mary watched as Andrew Sterling sat at his desk, head bowed in defeat. She felt an overwhelming sense of pity for him. She understood exactly what he was going through. Her own family had been in the same situation just a year ago. Yesterday, Andrew had gathered his employees in the main hall. "Our company is going through some very difficult times," he had said, his voice strained. "Someone is trying to take it from us through deception. We have one last chance. I'm asking all of you to come into work this weekend. Together we can fight this, we can hold our position on the market, and we can prevent a disaster." Before we continue, please give this video a like if you enjoy real-life stories. I'm curious to see how many of you there are. And now enjoy the story. Today, only Mary, the cleaning lady, had shown up for work. When Andrew realized no one else was coming, he had silently turned and walked back to his office. Just a year ago, Mary's father's company had gone bankrupt. Her father had broken. He wouldn't leave the house. And all his friends, if you could call them that, had simply turned their backs on them. Later, after it was all over, her father, William Reed, had figured out what had really happened. But it was too late. Mary, of course, could have gotten a normal job, but she didn't want to endure the pitying glances and the whispers behind her back from people who had once fawned over them. So Mary decided she would clean. It was her job. She couldn't help in any other way. Strange, of course, but Mary had been sure that Debbie would be here. But alas, Andrew stared ahead. He just hadn't expected this. He had thought he had a team, that he took care of his employees, that he paid them enough to make them loyal. And today, when he saw that only the young cleaning lady had come in, his hands just dropped. He had called Debbie several times. She was not only his secretary but also not his mistress. He believed that in a little while, he would be ready to propose to her. But Debbie wasn't answering, and he just didn't understand. Something clinked quietly in the hallway. Andrew looked up. The cleaning lady was looking at him with frightened eyes. What was she doing here? What was the point? Andrew glanced at his monitor. They had until the evening at most. He wasn't even trying to fight it anymore. The company's stock was plummeting. Yes, he had never thought that his entire journey as a businessman would end like this. And someone was clearly behind all this. But Andrew couldn't figure out who. He closed his eyes. He had started his business 10 years ago. No one believed in his success. A guy practically from the streets trying to become a businessman. But Andrew hadn't paid any attention to anyone. He was determined to achieve everything he had set out to do. It hadn't been easy, so much so that at times he wanted to give up, but he always pulled himself together. There was no time for a personal life, and besides his business, he didn't see or notice anything else. And now the thought came to his mind that when his company finally collapsed, there would be no one by his side. His friends were gone, left behind in his past life. He himself had left them there because he had started to associate with people from a different circle. And those who were around him now, who would need him without his money? Andrew let out a long sigh, reached for the safe, and took out a bottle of whiskey. He felt someone stop by his desk and grimaced. He had to send this cleaning lady home. Puttering around, just getting in the way. It can't be. He looked at the girl in surprise. She was holding a piece of paper from his desk. Well, this was just too much. He was about to say a few choice words to her, but the cleaning lady spoke first. "Mr. Sterling," she said, and handed him a document. He looked at it, then tossed it on the table. It was practically his company's death certificate. But the persistent girl picked it up again. "Please listen to me. My father once received a paper just like this. He didn't know what to do with it then, and when he figured it out, it was too late. His company was declared bankrupt. My father, William Reed, he can help you if you can persuade him." Andrew stared at her in amazement, then exclaimed, "You're Mary Reed. How did I not recognize you?" A glimmer of hope sparked inside him. He would ask her later why she was working as a cleaner. All that later. But right now, where was he? What needed to be done to get his help? "He's at home. He's broken, you know." "I see. Address." I'll go to him myself. Mary wrote it down on a piece of paper, and as Mr. Sterling stood up, she pointed to the computer. May I? You won't break anything, will you? Although what's there to break anymore? Everything's going to hell anyway. He waved his hand and walked out. Mary, watching him go, sighed. She tried not to think about Andrew, but she couldn't. She thought about him constantly, from morning till night. Only her father knew what was in her heart. But he would never betray her. William Reed couldn't understand who had disturbed his mournful peace. Andrew was explaining in a jumble that his company was going to hell, that he, a man who knows everything about crises, could do nothing now. William held up both hands. Okay, stop. First of all, who are you? Second, how do you have my address? And third, why did you decide that I would help you at all? I don't help anyone. What is this nonsense? Andrew's face fell. I'm sorry, it's just… Mary said that you know how. Mary? What Mary? William looked at Andrew more attentively. Mary works for me. I'm sorry, I'll go. She's there alone at the office. No one came in today, even though I asked. Wait a minute. You're Andrew Sterling. Well, yes. I'll get dressed. Just 5 minutes. On the way, William asked questions about the company and whether anyone could have leaked information to those who were now sinking him. No one had access to the documents. Well, except for Debbie. And I trust her. Debbie? Who is she? Is she with you now? No, but we're dating. And where is she? Andrew looked at him confused, then took out his phone. The subscriber's device is switched off. That's strange. I haven't been able to reach her all day. Let's imagine, just for the sake of argument, that this Debbie did leak all the information. Are there any security keys that she doesn't know about? No. Well, okay, no. She knew everything. Although, there is something that I think I almost forgot about myself. I'll show you now. The car practically flew into the company parking lot. As they were talking, Andrew seemed to see a thread he could try to grab onto. But for now, the end of that thread was not so clear. Mary was sitting at the computer. She had taken off her cleaning smock and headscarf, and now she was a completely different person. Andrew even froze in confusion. William walked over to the desk. Mary showed him the document. Her father read it and smirked. Yes, I see. It's all the same. Well, that makes it more interesting. What did you find? There's one protection here. Andrew rushed to the safe and handed him a flash drive. This is what I was talking about. I never thought I'd need it. 2 hours later, Andrew finally understood what they were doing, and he looked with admiration first at William and then at Mary. No, I would never have thought of this myself. William nodded. Me neither. It was Mary who suggested it once. I told her she was being foolish, that she didn't understand anything, that her education was worthless without experience. She was offended. I thought and thought about it, then I did the math and realized that this nonsense might actually work. But it was pointless to apply it to my company because the company was gone. So we're trying this for the first time with you. They worked in silence, only occasionally exchanging short phrases. When it got completely dark outside, Mary leaned back in her chair. I'll make some coffee for everyone. All we can do now is wait anyway. Andrew exhaled. Coffee? That would be so great. Mary laughed. Don't continue. Men don't know how to use adjectives anyway. William chuckled. Mary, don't scare Andrew. He'll think you're a man-hater. She laughed and went out. There was a coffee machine in the reception area. She came back about 10 minutes later, cleared a space on the table, put down the coffee, and then a large plate of sandwiches. Here, we need to eat while we have time. Andrew looked at her with gratitude. You know, I just realized that I haven't eaten at all today. 2 hours later, something started to happen. Andrew started receiving text messages from unknown numbers. Some threats, some instructions. William rubbed his hands together. Well, my friends, the people are getting nervous. And that means we're on the right track. At 6 in the morning, when it became clear that the company would survive, only minor details remained, a call came from Debbie. Honey, where are you? Her voice was strangely unpleasant, even cloying. At work. And you, by the way, why aren't you answering your phone? Were you busy? And what are you doing at work at this time? Andrew smiled. No, he wouldn't be so easily confused. Debbie, I told you yesterday that we had problems, that we needed help. Why didn't you come today? What's the point? It was all supposed to be over. I don't understand what's happening. Debbie was on the verge of shrieking. Andrew asked in an insinuating voice. What exactly was supposed to be over? What are you even talking about? About everything, you understand? About everything. You've ruined everything. Go to hell. And she apparently threw the phone. Andrew slowly put his phone down, then gently pushed it away from him, as if it were not a phone but a viper. William cleared his throat. It was obvious from the start. Someone was leaking all the information with gusto. But why? I think you'll find out everything in time. Well, it's time for us to go. You can handle the rest on your own. It will be tough, of course. Andrew jumped up and looked at Mary. Mary, you won't be a cleaner anymore. I don't understand why you need that. Yes, with your bright mind. I'm offering you another job. Any position, any requirements. Mary glanced briefly at her father, then nodded. I'll think about it. Andrew called exactly 1 day later. Mary looked at her dad in confusion. Listen, Andrew Sterling is coming over. He said for tea and to talk to me. And you don't seem happy about it. I thought you liked him. Dad, don't you understand? That's the whole point. What if he figures it out? Notices. Oh, Mary, you're still so young. Do you think if he didn't like you, he'd be on his way here now? Mary looked at her father in surprise. What was he even talking about? But she didn't have time to ask because the doorbell rang. She rushed to her room to freshen up, and William, chuckling, went to open the door. Andrew was agitated. You won't believe it, but Debbie. She only came to me to help her. Her? Well, this guy of hers is in the business of hostile takeovers. He's older than her, but she's just ready to do anything for him. Sit down, Andrew. This kind of scheme has been around for a long time. I fell for it too. True, the person was different, but the scheme was the same. And how? Andrew faltered. He opened his mouth and froze. Mary came out of her room. She had let her hair down, put on a little makeup, and was wearing a simple house dress that looked like an incredibly expensive and beautiful thing on her. Hello, Mr. Sterling. Andrew stood up, then sat down, then jumped up again. Hello, Mary. William sighed, looked at his daughter, at his guest, and thought that soon, apparently, he would have to be left alone in this house. He sighed again and went to make tea. When he came back, Andrew and Mary were talking. The girl turned to her father. Dad, Mr. Sterling has such plans. You have to listen to him. Andrew was proposing a major expansion of his company. But I want you, William, to be on our team. Not somewhere out there as someone, but right here. You have the experience, the intuition, and most importantly, you are an honest and very decent man. The man raised an eyebrow. Well, I wasn't really planning on going back into business. But the offer, I agree, is quite interesting. And very soon, William realized that he had not agreed in vain. He had to work quite a lot because the wedding preparations, the wedding itself, the honeymoon just pulled the young people out of their usual rhythm. And all this had knocked William out of his measured, boring wave. He suddenly realized that he was not old at all and could do a lot of things. And he even started looking around because he suddenly discovered that very interesting women were looking at him. Andrew and Mary understood everything. They tried for a while to make William understand that they couldn't do without him. He had noticeably smartened up and looked little like the elderly man Andrew had first seen. Now he was a man of age, but very youthful, well-groomed, and pleasant. They were just sure that in a very short time, Dad would meet the one who would brighten up his life. And then they could calm down. Thank you for watching to the end. If you enjoyed the story, I hope you will support me with a subscribe button. Your opinion is important to me, so please write in the comments how you like this story. Stay with us, we have many more different life stories. You can also check out the playlist and see other videos.